actual real talk, and this is more of just like us actually brainstorming right now in front of you guys. But
this is like, exclusive, guys. Take notes.
Welcome, everyone, to our very first Squadcast episode 1.
Oh, yeah, baby. It's Eternal Squad Productions. The new era of our filmmaking journey has begun.
Yes, exactly.
So excited for this new chapter in our little saga that we've been kind of going on every summer. For those of you that don't know, we've literally been making movies for 3-4 years now, and we display them every summer for our little friend group, including all of our actors, including ourselves, at this event that we call Premiere Night. But since we've gotten so much more experienced and, dare I say, versed in this verse of filmmaking and whatnot, we've decided to take things to the next level, and that's what this is, the beginning of that next stage.
Yeah, exactly. So we want to give you a peek, behind the characters, behind the skits, give you a show of who we actually are. So let's start off. Let's start off with, why we do any of this. So real quick.
Who are we to begin with?
Who are we? Yes.
Who are you?
My name's Nathan Effner. I didn't go to film school. We have a couple people that did go to film school, though. I studied to be an engineer, but look where I am now. Our local resident Carson here, he's the most experienced out of all of this for sure.
Well, I didn't go to film school either. That's one caveat that I must address. But I did go to school at Syracuse University for broadcast and digital journalism. That's a very formalized way of me saying I studied broadcasting, and that's what I want to do for a career. I announced track and field at the high school and some college level meets. I also play the trumpet. Those are just things that I do. I always like to pitch into the soundtracks whenever we do movies. Not that I write any originals, but I always love doing those covers that you see in the credits or sometimes interspersed without the plot. And bottom line, I just love making movies with my friends.
Hey, no originals yet. No originals
yet. We're working on that.
Soon to change. And I'm Brandon. I actually majored in bio in college. So yeah, 3 for 3. No film majors here. No film school. But I really like doing this with you guys. It's something different. I obviously, like I said, it wasn't something that I had like a passion for going into this with these guys, but having done it so long with you now, it's really a pleasure to be able to do these skits and blend comedy, horror, superhero, whatever you can imagine. It's nice being able to come up with ideas and stuff. But yeah, a little bit more about me, myself.
Tell it.
Yeah, well, right now I work in the microchip industry, so kind of bouncing all over the place, but hoping to figure out my way, go to grad school, and hopefully continue doing this with you guys.
Yeah,
absolutely.
All of our Street Dude 3 fans, you know now why Rugg is the brains of the operation.
Speaking of which, so going back to why we started doing this, as kids, we were always like, we love the idea of making movies,
Yeah.
And to see where we are now is just mind-boggling. I mean, comparing the first Street Dude to Street Dude 3, insanity.
I know.
That much growth in, 3 years?
Yeah, 3-4 years.
Absolute insanity.
Less than a half decade.
And now if you include the stop-motion film we made.
Yeah, that's over a decade that we're talking right there.
So our Patreon fans know.
Oh, yeah. They know.
But in 8th grade art class, these two weren't even part of it. It was just me.
No. All I heard was lore, and all I saw was perfection.
Yes.
We beginnings.
This was 2013. So
should we put the clip up for them to see?
Yeah, we'll put the clip up.
Okay.
Dun dun dun. What's going on over there? Ding ding. Surprise.
No, keep making noises. Ready? We gotta make one big long one.
Ding ding. Idea. Box. Boom. How? Push. Row.
Yeah, pretty bad as you saw. So yeah, pretty much this is 2013. Right after Avengers, superhero fandom was at all-time high. So, of course, we're like, we got to make our own superhero.
Yeah.
So we're in art class, 8th grade art class, and we're like, okay, we got to make a stop motion. That's what the teacher told us to do. And, she met with objects or, like, paper or whatever, right? We did it with people. So right at the bat, we're ready for this project. You don't make a stop motion with people. It's the dumbest thing ever, but we did.
Yeah.
And we just came up with Street Dude. I remember how he came up with the name. I think Tom, the guy who played it, did.
Really?
I honestly
The
can't
original
remember.
Street Dude.
The original Street. I think he came up with the name.
It's fitting.
It's funny
And
because
then-
go ahead, I'll let you finish.
And then for the villain, we were very ambitious. We had Evil Mime. Our very first thing, Evil Mime. So we had to do like the face paint, which is actually better. It's the one thing better about the stop motion, the gosh darn face paint. Because if you've seen Street Dude 2, I did the face paint, so you can imagine it was terrible.
Yeah, that face paint, for those of you that know, Zach, the original actor for Evil Mime. We all know Tom Snay by now, the guy you've seen make those cameos as original Street Dude. He was the one who acted in that stop motion that you just saw. But Zach, the original Evil Mime, his girlfriend at the time did the makeup for him. So, yeah, a little bit.
It was good.
Yeah.
It's probably the best thing about that movie.
So, no need to get down on yourself for not doing as good a job as she did.
But yeah, we did that. So super ambitious for the villain. But the idea was simple, right? It's a mime. Mimes can do anything, but of course you can't see it. So it's perfect for like a low budget movie.
Yeah.
Because then you could just do anything.
Like trap him in a box and
Exactly.
create a poof origin of another character that this goober plays now.
Yes.
Exactly.
Big Bad Buff as well. We also introduced him. So yeah, lots of lore in a 2-minute quick film.
And I think
it's crazy.
that's one thing that I'm so proud of this trilogy for being able to really put a lot of those original concepts that we came up
I'm proud
with
of that
in
too.
our adolescence
I'm proud of
to
that
bring
too.
a lot of those concepts to life and modernize them and to make them a lot more dynamic and interesting overall.
Yes, for
Yeah.
sure. It's really cool that we're able to bring back pretty much every aspect of the original and make it into a trilogy somehow. It's really cool.
It's funny. It's like one of those things when you look back at something that you've seen time and time again and then you pick up on another detail and it's like,
Yeah, exactly.
it's like we can use that too.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
So, to spin off that, we wanted to make another movie, and we were originally going to include that one in our like saga, I guess you can call it, and we're going to make Tsunami.
Yeah.
Brandon, I'll let you explain this a bit. Do you remember?
Tsunami.
Do you mean the story of it or just the idea in general?
So I guess let me keep going real quick.
Lay the
So-
table, and I'll
Yeah.
continue.
So we wanted to make like we want to make another installment in our saga, which again
Of our Avengers saga.
yeah, right.
See, Street Dude was one of the original
Yes.
Avengers superheroes that we had created in our character lore.
We wanted to have that stop motion in the saga, which, looking back, I'm glad we didn't keep it in the original saga. But that's okay. So we want to make Tsunami, and we had the plot and everything ready for it. But our friend Zach was, he's Tsunami. We wanted him to be Tsunami. Unfortunately, he was not able to film. So
Yeah.
we had 5 characters at the time. We had Chemical Mix, of course. I'll let you explain real quick.
That's my character who is basically his backstory. He wanted to be a professor and a scientist. Closest he got to that in his lore was a substitute chem teacher, but he, was part of the Federation. You probably heard that reference in Street Dude 2. That's probably where the public knows it from, if anything, but he was kind of part of Zix, the Federation's leader, on another one of our villain characters that you'll see
Yes.
make a debut on the big screen at some
Yes,
point. He was created by that big bad guy.
Could potentially be our Thanos.
Yes. Real quick side note.
Potentially.
A lot of our lore comes from D&D games. Now, one of our other friends who also plays D&D with us, Jack, Street 2, of course, you know him, he was telling us how Hollywood execs just play D&D, apparently, and come up with these crazy ideas. So we want to test that theory, and so far it's been working for us.
I actually had no idea that's why we started playing.
That's not why, but
I just kind of
part
started
reason.
playing because it was cool. I mean, our first D&D, keep in mind, we are not traditional Dungeons and Dragons players. Our first D&D was a spin-off of Zombies, of Call of Duty Zombies.
Yes, it was. It was really fun.
So-
It was really fun.
Yeah,
So-
Very nostalgic for that.
so fun.
So yeah, back to the original D&D game. It had 5 characters: Chemical Mix, Tsunami, Street Dude, Kick, and Rat Hawk. So back to what I was saying. We kind of went off a little bit. That's okay.
Yeah, we were
So-
just explaining some of the characters, so it's like, oh, who the hell's the chemical mix? Who the hell's Tsunami? So, back to Tsunami.
Yeah, Tsunami is like a water guy. He's a pirate. Really cool idea.
Aquaman.
Wink,
Yeah,
wink.
we needed our Namor or Aquaman.
He's
Yeah.
Aquaman. Wink, wink. He might be coming this summer. We'll see. Chemical Mix we couldn't do because he's a robot cyborg CGI. Like you can't do that for our first movie. Kick, he's a martial artist. We can't do. We're not like no crazy martial arts. Red Hawk again, same thing. CGI. We can't do that. So Electives was no other option, but Street Dude again. And we're like, we can do this. And Jack played him, and Jack had an affinity for acting in movies. So we got extremely lucky. That, like everything just lined up perfectly, and then boom, Street Dude 1 came out.
Mm-hmm.
It was like he was meant for the character.
It really is because actually I'm glad you add that, Brand, because before that, our friend Jay, Mayor North, the new Mayor North,
not me.
he had a choice between Red Hawk and Street Dude
for the D&D game.
Yes. And I think about that a lot now. Like if Jay chose Street Dude, like how different would things? Because then we would want Jay to be Street Dude, and then like how would that turn? You know what I mean?
Right.
Like I think it's almost fate that Jack
Destiny.
I agree with you. I also do believe that at the end of the day, we would have realized like the role would have fit Jack, and I think he would have wanted to do it with
probably.
us. So I think we still would have ended up doing the same thing. But I agree that it was destiny that it kind of worked out that way.
I think that's a fair assessment. It probably would have been a combination of factors because again, the actor for Tsunami that we are planning on using wasn't the originally planned actor that we were originally planning on using, if that makes sense, if that wasn't just a whole repeated mishmash of mumbo jumbo. But again, we've gained the ability to adapt in situations, and we've kind of
for sure
putting ourselves in the shoes of filmmakers has kind of shown us just how hard it actually is. No matter how much you tell yourself that you've gotten better, no matter how much you think you've learned, no matter how much prep work you do to avoid past mistakes, it all happens one way or another.
Well, I'll continue with that and just say that for me specifically, I'm sure that a lot of you have noticed, in our credits and stuff, that usually one of these two or both of these gentlemen are the editors. I really don't know jack squat about any editing at all, really. Yeah, I used to make memes. I was that guy in high school, but nothing that was ever videos or anything like that. So my experience is pretty much zero. And just to kind of see some of the things that you guys do in the limited experience that I do have, kind of watching what some of the editing and stuff. It's crazy to think about, and just I'm looking forward to learning, obviously, but yeah, it's crazy. I do want to call back to something as well. How did you guys do on your stop motion Street Dude?
The grade, we got to find that out.
Oh no, we failed.
So you weren't kidding about that?
No, we weren't, because remember it had to be.
It was supposed to be
objects, not person.
Well, the marker was an object.
We did have, we had stop motion elements where we had a flying marker. Yeah, you saw that. The box pops out of nowhere.
Yeah.
So we tried, but honestly, the teacher didn't really like me either for whatever reason, so I'm not surprised.
She didn't like me either.
Shot you down.
There was a reason why I stopped doing art after middle school, but we're not here to bash anybody. I will say this, as someone who was previously in your camp, Brandon, who would just look at videos and be like, how did somebody put this together? Like watching video editing. I think it really starts about having a vision, because I think you can agree that at one point you were not exactly well versed in that either.
No,
but you having the vision to incorporate all these elements of video effects that I can't say I've ever envisioned for our movies that have made our movies better. That was an important starting point for you. And even if there's still let's say, there's still stuff that I have to learn about video editing. There's still stuff and ways that we can all improve.
Always.
But having that vision is a key starting point. And I think that's
absolutely right.
That's huge, especially considering some of our future projects that we got planned.
It's really knowing about, I think the best way to go about it is knowing what you're capable of and what, tools you have at your disposal and what they can do. Because, that's half the battle, You gotta know what's gonna need what at certain times.
To see something and know how to get there.
Yeah, exactly. Yep. So Brandon, just keep that in mind for your editing journey.
Yes. No, I'm excited to learn and be
able
to put my ideas on the big screen, if that makes sense.
I hear that you may or may not be making a directing debut this coming summer.
I think we can keep it mostly under wraps, but that's just something that we were discussing.
Yeah, we're teasing you guys a lot, aren't we? Wow, first episode.
Teaser.
We got a lot of big plans for this, as you can tell. This is very off the mark for our channel, a podcast. You've never seen that before. We got a lot of plans for you real quick. So let's name some of those plans. We got, of course, podcasts. I want to try ghost hunting because our horror videos do amazing for some reason.
For some reason.
Okay, as much as I love the Street Dude content, I think our most genuine like where we are the most natural, I think, in our acting and just our like directing and everything, I think is in the horror element for
People
some reason.
love horror.
I think it's not just
we were in our
it's not
bag
just
for,
the
like,
fact that
Lost.
we incorporate elements of horror. I think it's because a lot of what we've done from a horror perspective, at least when we consider some of our longer form stuff, like the Found and Lost series that we've got going on, a lot of that has been unscripted. A lot of that has just been us walking through some remote area, completely off the cuff, just having fun, starting some sort of unsettling conversation thread, and letting it spiral downward from there.
Yeah, those are always a good time too. Those are always so
Yeah.
much fun.
Yeah.
Fun,
You know,
yeah.
I think real quick, we should talk about the original Lost and what happened with that.
Okay.
The original Lost.
Well, remember?
Oh. So, allow me to remind you guys quickly before I hand it over to Nate. There was one part, do you remember, in Lost where we were talking about... Actually, no. I don't think it was in Lost. We made a trailer. For those of our fans on our Eternal Squad private Instagram will remember that we made a trailer where it's like, oh, we're alone in a cabin for a whole weekend. And in our bloopers, it was like, so we're at this cabin. We're going to this cabin 100 miles away from everybody, but the owner of the Airbnb canceled on us last minute. So now we got nowhere to go. We're in the middle of nowhere. That's basically the premise.
So, the original idea, it was very, very different. It was quite ambitious too. This was only our third year of filming.
Yeah, this was 21 going into 22.
This would have been probably our fourth big project. Like
Yeah.
Street Dude 2.
Yeah, fourth big
Found and
project.
then Lost,
Found,
yeah.
yeah.
So it was very ambitious. So we wanted 6 people originally. The 4 you see in the movie and 2 others, but the 2 others backed out last second. So the plan was to actually rent out a cabin for the weekend, you know, in the middle of nowhere, you know, really embody what we're filming, right? Really actually live through it. And you know, like I want to say like a month before, the owner calls me, and no disrespect to the owner, this is completely on me.
Yeah.
So, if they ever see this, which they probably won't, but
You never know.
they call me, they're like checking in, I'm like, yeah, we're excited to go, this and that. Then they ask for my ID, and they're like, oh, you're all set. And then I hear them stop. Wait a minute, how old are you? I'm like, 22. And they're like, oh. And I'm like, what's the problem? It's like, you need to be 25 for this. And I'm like, oh. And then she's like, did you not read the terms and agreement? I'm like, no, who reads all of that? And she's like, well, did you not click yes, I read this? I'm like, well, yeah, but. And then she's like, no, like you gotta be 25. And then I was like, okay, but what if someone that's coming with us is 25? And she was like, no, you all gotta be 25. And I'm like, oh my god,
You all gotta be 25.
Crazy.
So I'm like, okay, I'm sorry, can we
I like
please?
the idea that she would have pulled all of her IDs at that point.
I don't know what she would have
Or
done.
just-
If she would have even been present at the doorway, because like I mean, we would have had the cabin to
Yeah,
ourselves.
she's the
So it's like, what's
bouncer.
she gonna do? I mean, like, what if we invite, like, I don't know, man. That was just crazy.
So I was like, can we like please work, like make something work here? And she was
Yeah.
like, no, we just can't. So then we had to completely pivot for Lost. And mind you, we're on a time frame because I wanted it to be snowy, right? And we're already in January, so we had to do something now. So we were just
And
like,
keep in mind, Jack was going to college at the time. I think I might have been, because yeah, it was 2022 that we filmed it, right?
we were going back to
Or no,
college,
it was 2023 that we filmed
Yeah.
it. My bad, I got the years mixed up. But either way, we had
Early
people.
2023.
We had people that were still at college then, like Jack, our 4th guy. He was at college for most of that winter season.
So we just did what we could. And we started filming. We found a remote location, and then we just filmed. And then
I
you know, for eagle eye viewers, you'd realize that Brandon and Jack never share a frame together. It's because we filmed 2
What?
different days, and we just had to do it. And that led, of course, to having Brandon be the first victim. And we realized that Brandon's usually always the first victim in our movies.
You gotta have somebody die first.
Yeah, but our saying is it's always Brandon.
It's always Brandon. It's always him in D&D games too. For some
Yes.
reason.
Okay. That's the funniest part is that it's like the movies are scripted, or at least somewhat scripted, but like
Even in the unscripted ones, though, it's crazy. But no, that was one thing we
Bad luck.
specifically changed. If
For-
you picked
for
up on that in Pumpkin Man.
Yeah, we were like, we can't
Yeah.
have Brandon die first again.
so I die last.
I don't know exactly what
horrifically.
our plan is for future horror movies, but we've finally broken that stigma to where it's no longer Brandon dying first. Not that it's the last time that you're going to die first, last time that you're going to die, period, but you're no
Uh,
longer cursed by that.
If you're listening to this, that just means that in our next horror movie, I will be the first one dead, and we all know it. So just,
There's
just
a
remember
little
this.
spoiler.
It means he won't not be the first one dead.
Yes.
All right, circling back to what we were talking about. Extra new content. So we're gonna do like vlogs,
Mhm.
travel vlogs. I travel a lot. Carson does too, but that's more for work stuff. I travel more for fun stuff.
Yeah, work isn't fun.
Okay, we got to
It
do an
is.
actual real talk, and this is more of just like us actually brainstorming right now in front of you guys. But
This is
like,
exclusive, guys. Take notes.
no, I'm just saying
Pay
that we
attention.
have to do like a squad trip and do like a
for
travel
sure.
vlog
Yeah,
on this.
and that's one
squad
thing we
trip.
were considering
I
because
would
we're all
love that.
kind of approaching the 25-year-old threshold to the point where
We can
if
actually
do
do
a
we
little
Airbnb.
if we ever encounter a situation where you have to be minimum 25 years old to reserve an abandoned cabin, we can actually do it. We're considering other sorts of trips like ski trips. Us two have never skied in our... Have you skied? I haven't either. Like, how cool would that be?
I'd
Like,
be down to learn,
just
though.
Nate showing us the ropes of skiing.
Skiing's fun. You'll love it. You'll love it.
I mean, I
wanna
think
try it.
I think we could be good at it.
I probably wouldn't be good at it, but I think
You
I
could
could learn.
You're a good dancer. If you could dance, you could ski.
All right.
I'm saying
heard
that
that-
not
you've
out of
heard that.
experience, but I know a good skier when I see one,
All right. All right.
and I'm not looking in the mirror.
And I'm not looking in my pearly white eyes.
I'm kind of like acrobatic, but I can't dance that well, except for if it's like just a simple move,
Yeah.
like a little back and forth. Yeah.
Let's see. We also got I scuba dive. Me and Jack scuba dive. We also got scuba dive videos. We got challenges. This guy's gonna help me run a mile. I suck at running, but he's not. He's great at running, so he's gonna help me out.
Yeah, I've got a couple of running challenges on my channel too.
More skits, of course, and then anything
Yeah.
else we can think of. We're really just throwing everything at the wall and seeing what sticks.
That's kind of where we're at right now because again, we've just found ourselves at a place in time where less isn't enough for us anymore. It's like we're getting better and better. Like, why should we downsize? I mean, circumstantially, obviously that will depend. Like, for example, when we did Street Dude 2 that whole year, that was Premiere Night 2. The year after, we were planning to release Premiere Night 3, which is all the stuff that came out this past summer. But because, again, our time schedules were so vastly varied and we just couldn't find the time to put it all together or the planning, we decided to push it off to next summer. And by making the most out of Lost, we figured that even though we didn't exactly increase in quantity, that our quality was still heading in an upward direction.
It was for sure. Lost had some interesting, filming and editing tricks involved, which I love, by the way. Like I think now that we're not talking about, let's talk about some of our favorite scenes. So,
Yes.
Speaking
Yeah,
of
I'm
Lost,
excited to talk about it.
one of my all-time favorite scenes is when my character is like talking to Carson's character.
Yeah, we're in the car. We're
And-
panicking. We just saw...
not that. The one right before.
Oh,
And we're talking about like the security cameras. We're looking at it.
oh,
And
that's when we're inside, yeah.
we see some figure, right? And we don't know it's Brandon yet. We don't know who's by, but we see some figure outside our house, and we pause it. And then, even though it's paused, the figure somehow through the screen is still able to move and look at us. Like that was really hard to do. What we did was it was just a video, of course. I didn't actually pause the video, but I made it look like it paused.
yeah,
through
you
video
pressed the
editing.
little tippity-tap of the
Little
space
video
bar.
magic.
And it took a little bit of timing, but yeah, we nailed that down. I really love that scene. So what about you guys? What are some of your favorite scenes across all our movies?
Thinking of one, I mean, my favorite that comes to mind first is the Robert Rugg Mayor North. This is when I was still Mayor North. This is like scene 2 or whatever of Street Dude 2, Evil Mind Boogaloo. I'm just sitting there. I'm like waiting for my secretary to show up. And I'm like, oh, where the hell's my secretary? And then this guy walks in. He's Rugg. For those of you that didn't get the memo, he is Rugg in disguise, dressed poorly as an office security to the mayor. So he comes in with his little stack of papers. And I'm like, I've never seen this guy in my life before. Who are you? And then he initially nearly spills the beans. He's like, I'm the replacement secretary. My name is Rugg. And then he realizes what he did like 2 seconds later. He's like, my name is, and then he just starts the whole like the cough thing. And then Nate got the idea when we were initially drafting that scene to do a 30-second long, completely over-exaggerated cough scene to the point where he's on the ground dying. And then there's just like the reaction scenes. I remember you laughed when I was just like, is this guy okay?
Yeah. Oh my God. That
That might have been the
broke me.
hardest
That
scene in the
broke me.
film.
Because he like looks over like and that first time, because I didn't know he was gonna do that, so that completely broke it. Yeah.
We actually had to do that in 2 takes because I was too lazy in editing it that I lost the first batch of film, so we had to do it again. It ended up better the second time,
Yeah.
though. But it was just such a funny scene. We were laughing for longer than you were coughing after it was done.
That was a hard one to record. Just not because of the coughing necessarily, but because of just how funny it was.
Yeah, that was hilarious.
Yeah, for me, my all-time favorite scene is probably, and I know it's kind of recency bias, but probably the Goon Platoon scenes in Street Dude.
Yes.
Oh my
Specifically,
gosh.
Yes.
the second half of their scenes, which I'm not going to describe that, but if you haven't seen it,
Yeah.
please do yourself the pleasure of watching
I
those.
sure hope you have seen it.
So-
If you're watching
Yeah.
this.
Yeah, I'll let you finish. I have a thought.
Yeah, well, I was also going to say a runner-up for me, to be honest, and something that I can more so describe to the fans. I would have to say is probably either Doug's Donuts. Some of those scenes, specifically at the end, where Rugg kind of gives up the secret about Joe Mama's Pizza.
Yeah, Doug's was really funny.
Yeah, no, that was really good.
I'm proud of that one.
Yeah. I also really enjoy the Arnold Palmer ad, the second one, where
The golf-
Jack,
the golf
where
one?
Jack,
Yeah.
aside from just him drinking the Arnold Palmer and having the what is it called, Chug or whatever from
Chug
Fortnite?
Jug from
Chug
Fortnite,
Jug,
yeah.
okay.
That's a constant in our series. Now.
Yeah,
You always
that's-
hear
Yeah,
it.
every time somebody takes a drink, you hear that.
But no, my favorite part of that whole skit is just the fact that like our comedy style fits so well, where it's like, so if you don't know, like he drinks the Arnold Palmer, and like before he drinks it, he's very bad at the golfing, like he doesn't hit the ball very well. He drinks the Arnold Palmer, Chug Jug effect, and then all of a sudden, it's like this really like it's good. It's a really good effect. You could obviously tell that when he makes contact with the ball, it cuts to like a different scene of like a club hitting a ball.
Of a professional.
I think it just matches our comedy style so well because it's so obvious.
And then
But it's-
like we got the random idea. I don't know if it was my idea or your idea. We got the random. I got the random. I'll take credit for it now that you gave me the credit. I got the random idea to throw you in with the reactionary. It was just like, woo!
Just the cherry on top, yeah.
Yeah, that was funny.
The water.
It definitely was
going,
missing
yeah.
something. That commercial definitely was missing something, so I'm glad Carson thought of the whole Brandon thing. That tied it all
It
together.
added it,
Woo! I
And
need
then-
some of that.
And then my favorite thing about that though is the very last swing. You could tell if you watch close, you could tell Jack completely whiffs. It's like the slow. It's like. So
Take
it's
a sip, sharpen your
if
sword.
you watch it, you can see.
Yeah.
And
It's
the
so
music
funny.
is great. It's just the
My-
Arnold Palmer
yeah.
series is just phenomenal.
My thought that I wanted to add real quick. I mentioned how the Robert Rugg scene was probably the hardest I'd film like during filming, but the Goon Platoon scenes were different in that a lot of what was happening in them you couldn't see when we were filming. Again, that goes back to the
Yeah.
vision that Nate has really used to enhance our video content that really enhanced that scene in particular. Like, that one scene, that second half scene, Street Dude 2 Evil Mind Boogaloo. There is one commenter that timestamped this. I want you all to go watch it right now. That was the scene that I laughed the longest for after
Right,
having
right.
seen
Street
live
Dude
for the
3,
first
Street
time.
Dude 3,
Street Dude 3, Goon Platoon.
Yes.
Yes.
3. Yeah, go watch it. That Goon Platoon. Honestly, I'm surprised you even got it done because Street Dude 3 was incredibly ambitious. Probably way too ambitious for even ourselves, but we still got it done. And that's part of the reason why we delayed it a year is because we made a lot of mistakes in the beginning. And if you're not prepped for for a product of this magnitude, you're gonna get nowhere with it. And we learned that very fast. We didn't have a real script for it, and Jack was roasting us, the actual film student. He was like, "You need a real script, you need a real plan, you need this and that." And we took it seriously though.
We did.
We learned from our mistakes. We regrouped, we rebounded, and we actually made it the next summer against all odds, in my opinion. Because
Yeah.
I look back at that, and I still watch that movie sometimes. I look back at
Me
all
too.
the planning, the thinking, the editing, the amount of time it took. 400 man hours. So
We
if
kept count.
you could just imagine that 400 man hours all in 3 months. For that's crazy. And on
Yeah.
top of that, we did all the other smaller stuff too.
Yeah. We didn't
So-
even count some of what we had done like
Yeah.
the previous summer because we had filmed a couple scenes back then too that needed refilming, albeit,
Yes.
but still the idea goes way further back,
Mhm.
and
It
that's
was.
why we're just so proud of how far this trilogy
yeah.
has come and what it set us up for.
100%. And it's a good finale for Street Dude. You might see him again.
I mean, we would be kind of falling short on a promise if we didn't bring him back. I mean, come on.
Yes, you'll
He
definitely-
technically did already appear again behind the
That's
camera,
true,
the mic,
you
and
did,
Christmas
you did.
special.
You did, you're right.
Yeah, that one was a lot of fun too. I mean,
Christmas special was great.
I don't want this first episode to turn into like a complete recap of every episode. I think we're gonna have to make a special recap of that in our holiday specials, because I think now that we've gotten to this point where we can make holiday tailored content, I think that says a lot about how we've built this foundation for ourselves moving forward. So
and piggybacking off that, I just threw the idea out there. This was because it's unconventional for us, because we don't just make YouTube videos to make YouTube videos at first.
Yeah.
It was to make them for a premiere night.
right,
So holiday specials,
like we said at the top.
yeah.
Yeah.
So for holiday specials, we're just out the picture, right? Because it's during the summer. We're not gonna have a Halloween thing. You know what I mean? We're not gonna do that. But I was like, if we could do Street Dude 3, we could do anything, which is my mindset. And then we go in, we do the holiday spot. We do both of them, the Halloween and Christmas one. So now, in my mind, I'm fully convinced you could do anything, which is why we're expanding so much now.
Yeah.
So I'm really proud of that.
Yeah, and why we're also, if you guys have been following along, we've been converting a lot of our archive content into YouTube short format so that you can see it, relive it, and watch it in full. I mean, obviously all the videos are linked there, but I think now would be a good time to talk about some of our up-and-coming projects, because I think we've talked a lot about how we've gotten here and some ideas that we have, but let's start putting them
Before
pen
that,
to
real
paper
quick,
in a minute.
I do wanna mention one more thing about Arnold Palmer commercial.
Oh, yeah.
Just where we got the idea from, because as you know, that's also in a way we have 3 trilogies on the channel right now. We have the Street Dude trilogy, we have the Destruction Crew trilogy, which we retconned Joe Mom Pizzeria to be the beginning of that trilogy.
Yeah.
They were not supposed to be. It wasn't supposed to be Rug and Doug, but we were just like,
Yeah.
you know what? Let's just make it them.
I mean, yeah, that was kind of my idea with Doug's Donuts. It's just like, I wanted a sequel to JMP, and I got the idea because of alliteration. The Destruction Crew from Street Dude 1, that was just kind of like our standard villains, and I wanted them to sort of be like the Three Stooges, or like...
Yeah, they definitely grown into some pretty funny characters.
Yeah.
I like them a lot.
with a little bit of influence from the Wet Bandits from Home Alone.
Yep. So back to the Arnold Palmer. So the reason why we started this is because our friend Jay, the business guy,
Yeah.
he was like you should make a commercial as like for like a sizzle reel, if people know what that is. Like,
Yeah.
like it had add to your portfolio to show like actual real business people. And me and Jack love Arnold Palmer, so like, let's just do Arnold Palmer, right? And they're infamous for not making commercials because of their motto of keeping their prices low. So we're like, well, it's perfect then. We'll make an Arnold Palmer commercial.
Yeah. And we actually, Premiere Night 1, most people remember it for being Street Dude, the movie, the big first premiere film, but we actually made our first Arnold Palmer commercial for that premiere night.
Yes.
It was literally filmed the day of. I shot 4K on my iPhone, just cinematic scenes of an Arnold Palmer with Brandon as a freaking yard worker, like a landscaper blowing a leaf blower out in the hot 90-degree sunlight, and then just like going to grab the Arnold Palmer. You may remember in the third Arnold Palmer that we kind of did a little reference to that, where he's just kind of is like taking a kickback with it, Yes,
exactly. So then we did the Arnold Palmer golf because he's a golfer. And then Jack came up with the idea for Arnold Palmer for everyone, and then I added the twist that we'll have all our characters from that.
Yeah.
So it was just a real nice like what do we call like bow tie on top.
Yeah.
To all tie together.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's great. All right, Carson, back to your point of what to expect in the future. What we got?
So, we've talked about our 3 trilogies. Well, I think now would be a good time to announce to you, if you've made it this far, which I know you have, that we are going to complete our 4th trilogy. You remember Found. You remember Lost. It seems like there needs a little bit of something more. Well, we've got another movie coming to that trilogy. I'm not going to announce the name or what exactly it entails, but we've actually been having our own production meetings, writers' conferences, for what that movie is going to be. It's going to be probably one of our biggest movies that we're going to plan on releasing this summer.
Yes.
And
we've been talking a lot about ambition. This is definitely very ambitious, but like on a completely different level, but in a different way. This is like our motto is to always push ourselves, which in my opinion is the only way it's the only real way to grow as creators, and of course I believe it's working. So this is definitely
almost in triple digits. I mean, we love you guys. 98 subs as of the recording of this podcast.
Yes, hopefully we get to 100 soon. Definitely would love that.
Yeah.
But yeah, so this new movie coming out, it's definitely very different from our original content. So we're really excited for you guys to see it and for us to make it.
Definitely. Anything else that we want to talk about? Because I think we've been going for quite a while
You
now.
definitely have been.
Yeah.
Brandon, you got anything? The last words?
You got a trivia night to get to, don't you?
I do trivia on Wednesdays. But you know, we got some more. Again, I won't tease any titles or anything, but some more potentially superhero-based films. And yeah, I think it's going to be a good summer, and I'm excited to continue with you
It's
guys.
gonna be a good year. So just to end things now, we got a lot of diverse stuff coming. You know, skits, challenges, vlogs. So yeah, keep an eye out, and more podcast episodes as well.
We're gonna have a lot more real content than just our short films, because that's really all that you've seen from us. Again, I think I forgot to mention this off the top, but this is really the first time that we are kind of showing ourselves on this channel, Eternal Squad Productions, as ourselves, out of character. Even though, of course, like I said, a lot of our stuff has been off the cuff, it still sort of followed a character's arc.
Yeah.
It's all been nonfiction. I mean, fictional. Nonfiction, fiction.
And, you know, I think to end this podcast, we'll explain why we changed the name. You know, that was just my YouTube channel. Like I said, we weren't really taking YouTube that seriously. We're just posting it so we could watch our movies whenever, wherever. But, you know, like, we're taking it seriously. It's based off my name. I don't believe that, though. It's not my channel. It's our channel. You know, it's a group. I wouldn't be able to do any of this without these guys here and more people from behind the scenes, of course.
So many more.
All super helpful. So it's our channel. I want to change the title to actually reflect that. And
Yeah.
So yeah, more change coming, more stuff coming. We're really excited.
Y'all can still add him on Xbox Live at Heat Pro.
The plug.
All right. How should we end this?
We need
Say
more
goodbye.
friends, more actors.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right.
If anybody wants to act for us too, hit us up, like and comment and subscribe.
Yeah, right.
Sayonara.
Later, gang.
Yep. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Stay tuned for episode 2 of Eternal Squadcast. I'm Carson, for Brandon and Nathan. We'll see you guys next time.
We got some good guests coming. Get ready. Later.